This module is Homeschooling a Struggling Learner, presented by Dr. Terry Lapine. Just bringing a child into the homeschool environment from a traditional environment sometimes offers enough change and focus that a child can move from a struggling learner to a within range learner, within grade level range learner. And some of those things that help when bringing a child home is one-on-one instruction. There's nothing better than one-on-one instruction, and in the homeschool environment we can offer that. We have increased time on academic tasks. It's easy to increase time on task in the homeschool environment. We have customized curriculum choices, so we may have curriculum that fits a little bit better with a child. Also, there's flexible scheduling, so you don't have to start at the same time the schools start in order to have a good, strong school day. And then there are fewer distractions. With fewer people around, there are fewer distractions. Of course, with other siblings around, we do have to take into consideration when we are homeschooling a struggling learner. So for some students with mild learning difficulties, these features alone may be sufficient enough to accommodate their learning needs. However, when we have other issues that cause challenge, then learning becomes a little more difficult. Sometimes there are one or more of the following issues that cause learning challenges. One is allergies, and then anxiety disorder, asthma, attention deficit disorder, autism spectrum disorder, bipolar disorder, depression, dyslexia, epilepsy, hearing problems, cognitive impairment, fetal alcohol syndrome, learning disabilities, obsessive compulsive disorder, sensory integration dysfunction, Tourette syndrome, vision problems, and these are just a few. There are more issues that can cause challenges for learning. So with those issues that impact learning, it's always good to have a medical diagnosis of an underlying problem. That's helpful for you as a parent to help know how to support your child best. It's also important for the school to know, to help guide you with a struggling learner. It can help you plan reasonable goals for your child, and it will better equip you to teach your child. Now, who can help? At our school, we have a process for developing a plan for students who struggle with learning. It's called the Personalized Learning Team. And this is a team of professionals along with a parent who meet to plan how to move forward with a student's academics. We have important members of the team. Every member is important. The important members are the parent, who knows the child best. We have the ES, who also knows the child better than anyone else on the team besides the parent. And I am on the team, Terry Lapine, as the literacy expert and as the facilitator of the meetings. We have Deborah Kutz, who is our math specialist, who joins us when there are math issues. We can call in the school psychologist if we need the school psychologist to join us. We can ask the guidance counselor to join us. Whoever the specialist in the school is who can best support us can also be invited. These meetings happen periodically, so a child has a first meeting, and then there are follow-up periodic meetings to follow the child to make sure the child is being successful. If the child isn't being successful, we change the plan, make it more intensive, to try to better meet the needs of the child. I think of it as a doctor making a diagnosis. It's like a doctor making a diagnosis in the health field. It may try a medication and it may work, but if it doesn't, we come back and we try something different. So it's the same kind of concept. Also, people that can help outside the school are the medical doctors, the pediatricians, the psychiatrists, also psychologists, counselors, speech therapists, occupational therapists, tutors, and academic therapists. So, so there are lots of people who can help with a homeschooling a struggling learner. Now, right now we're going to think about setting goals for your school year. The main thing to remember is that you want to keep it manageable. Whether your long-term goal is for college or helping your child live and work independently, you have to keep it manageable. I want you to think about first observing your child. What are some observations you have of your child? If you will write down the observations that you're making, what are you seeing your child when your child is in a learning environment? What are you observing? These can be things they can't do, can do. What are you observing? After you complete your list of observations, also on a list, I'd like you to write a list of things your child can do. And then a second list would be goals that your child has for the coming year. Goals that you have set for your child for the coming year. And the third list would be the longer term goal for your child. What do you hope at the end of 2 years, 5 years, at the end of high school? What are your goals for your child? I want you to write each of those down, and then I'm going to have you give those to your ES as part of your completion of this training module. At first, your observations might not be as precise as they are. Once you start thinking, they become more precise, but at least you will point out the most noticeable weaknesses in their schoolwork, in the practical skills, and in behavior. So right now, you should be writing down your observations, and then using the area of reading, write down what your child can do. When you've completed that, go to the next slide. For this slide, this is your second list that I want you to make and these are your goals for the coming year in reading. You want to make sure you focus on reading. And when you're thinking about setting these goals, I want you to think beyond a year's growth. If we only think in terms of 1 year's growth, actually we want more than a year's growth in a year. That's what we're looking for. Because that's the only way we're going to close the learning gap for your child. So and get them within expected grade range. So when you're planning your goals for this upcoming year, don't forget the state standards as well. And the third list you want to make are your long-term goals for your child, the 2 years, the 5 years, the year after graduation. What is your goal for your child? What are your long-term goals for your child? And then after reading goals are written, I want you to plan the rest of your language arts and mathematics goals. These need to be given to your ES as part of your completion of this learning or training module. Now let's talk about appropriate curriculum. One of the things that we want to talk about is textbooks versus books. It's really important to have a good textbook. Not just any textbook will work. You need a textbook that is structured, that has a scope and sequence, that has the learning step by step, so it's a textbook that gives the teacher, you, the information you need, and also gives your child the information they need, or he needs, or she needs. So textbooks